Hey everyone, in this video we'll discuss a little understood but extremely important detail in using TradeSkill Master for gold farming in World of Warcraft. By the end of this video, you'll have an excellent idea of how to put this detail to use and to help calculate the value of your own gold farms so you know what activity is worth doing and how activities best compare. The detail we'll discuss is called region sale rate. You can see this by enabling it in TradeSkill Master's tooltip options. Region sale rate is the average percentage chance across your server's entire region that an item will sell any given time it is posted to the auction house. This is based on historical data. So a sale rate of 0.5, for instance, means that each time you post this item, assuming you're selling it for a reasonable average price, it has a 50% chance to sell, more or less. Now, it's important to realize that sale rate is an estimate, not a for sure, always right figure. But in my experience, it's the best tool we have for estimating how long it will take for an item to sell on the auction house at an average price appropriate to the region. And we can make some generalizations right away. Certain items, like crafting materials, tend to have the highest sale rates, often 0.25 or higher. Conversely, transmog items tend to have low sale rates, 0.02 or 0.01 or so. So how can we use sale rate to our advantage? First, sale rate can help you determine what is worth farming. You can do this with a calculation that I'll call gold per day, or you could think about it as gold per post on the auction house. To find the gold per day value of an item, multiply the sale price of the item by the sale rate. For instance, if an item sells for 100 gold and has a sale rate of 0.25, then the item has a gold per day value of 25 gold. Now, let's note something important regarding the present value of gold. Gold that you have now or can get quickly is arguably worth more than gold you may receive at some point later on in the future. As soon as you receive gold, you can either reinvest it into the auction house, through flipping items for instance, to build up your capital even greater, or you could spend it on a time-sensitive purchase, such as a monthly WoW token, or the Brutosaur amount. For instance, let's say you have an hour to farm gold today, and for simplicity's sake, let's say you have two options. You can either do a farm that has an overall value of 10,000 gold per hour with a sale rate of 0.5, or a farm that has an overall value of 80,000 gold per hour with a sale rate of just 0.01. Try to figure out which of these two options has a greater gold per day value, and therefore a greater present value for faster gold making. Just pause the video and make your calculations. Okay, let's check your numbers. The first option equates to 5,000 gold per day, and the second option equates to 800 gold per day. Therefore, the first option has significantly greater present value than the second option based on average data. Now, of course, if it didn't take the second option so long to sell as it did historically, then it might have a higher present value. But if you want for sure gold, it's best to use and rely upon the data that you do have, rather than to speculate, hope, dream, and pray for results that might not occur. And at this point you might be thinking, and you wouldn't necessarily be wrong, that farming materials with a higher sale rate is typically going to be better than farming transmog, which has a much lower sale rate. Well, there's another thing to consider in this regard, and that's the number sold per day. If you enable the TSM tooltip for region average daily sold, then you will see how many of that item sell each day across the region. The smartest thing to do is to get a list of the highest gold per day items, and then farm up enough to equal that region average daily sold number, and ensure that you always have at least that amount on the auction house. Now, if you have more than this on the auction house at any time, that isn't necessarily bad. But typically, you'll be reposting those items a few times to sell off the excess. So to maximize your time and energy, it's best to be systematic. First, farm up enough of item A. and then go farm up enough of item B, and so on. And each day, when your items sell, you refarm and restock in the same order. And this way, you can ensure that you're farming sensible items with the highest gold per day, and therefore the highest present value, maximizing both your efficiency and the speed at which you acquire gold. You could summarize this by essentially farming up enough materials first and then transmog. This isn't always the case, since it depends on exactly what items we are talking about, but it is true more often than not. Another benefit of materials over transmog is that transmog is essentially a one-time purchase for most players. Once they have the appearance in their collection, there's no reason for them to buy it again. But materials are a constant purchase for anyone doing crafting. So if you can only focus on one option, usually materials are going to be the way to go, except in very specific cases. Or if you just find farming transmog to be fun. There's one other big drawback to selling transmog that is tied to the low sell rates, and it's the posting cost, which is the gold that you have to pay each time you list that item on the auction house. To calculate this posting cost, you can create two custom price sources in TSM. The first one we'll call DaysTilSale. Here's how it works. 30 divided by the dbregionsalerate times 30. This will give you the approximate number of days of reposting the item, assuming a 24-hour posting period, until the item finally sells. So for example, if an item has a sale rate of 0.01, then it'll take about 100 days, or 100 listings, until somebody finally buys it. Now the second custom price source we need to create is what we will call PostCost. And here's how it works. Vendorsell times 0.6 times DaysTilSale. And this will show you the approximate amount of gold you will pay to list and relist that item until it finally sells. Then you can compare this post cost to the price at which you plan to list the item. Let's say the item has a post cost of 100 gold and a sale price of 110 gold. Thus, the true price, or the true value of the item, is really only 10 gold. This means that, assuming all of the data is accurate, and remember, it's the best we have to estimate anything here, that this item will only net you 10 gold when somebody finally comes along and buys it. Is that even worth posting on the auction house? That's going to have to be your decision. If you include these custom price sources in your TSM operations and groups, then you can avoid altogether posting items that either have pathetic profits, or worse, and more likely with most transmog items, at an overall loss by the time the thing finally sells. I hope this information helps you out with your gold making. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, as I will do my best to respond. Have a great day, and stay strong.